Hey YouTube and Caymanas Park Turf Fights, welcome back to Down the Stretch. I'm the host, Christopher Charlton, and wishing you a very merry or a very happy new year before it comes. So happy new year. We're going to be looking at the first race day of the year, Wednesday, January 1st, 2025. And let's see if we can spot some of these winners. The first race, 3 years and up, optional claimer, 500,000. Nature bred 6 years and up, non-owners of 3, imported 6 years and up, non-owners of 2, 9 starters, 5 furlongs straight. And I'm just going to boil this race down to 4. They are the 2 Sniper Man, the 4 Basilicus, the 6 Phoenix Risen, and the 8 JJ, the Striker. Okay, first up is going to be Sniper Man. Sniper Man, last time out, 14th of December, at 400,000, which I think is the same level. I think they just add on 100,000 to the purses. Was third by a length and 3/4 to My Sunshine, who I think was a little coming down in class. Was just a half length off Phonometer, who is somewhat of a score specialist. So I definitely give Sniperman a shot here. Javanil Patterson for Stedman Curtis, fresh off the claim. A very fit Sniperman should definitely have a shot here. The 4 Basilicus, Samantha Fletcher for Stacklewin Roman. When this horse is ready and fit, possibly the fastest horse in the race. Coming off, he hasn't raced since August, so I think he's very sound. He's been cantering, so I'm expecting him to be very fit. They've now put on the tongue tie. Samantha Fletcher still claiming 2 kilos, so he's coming in pretty light. And if a very focused Basilicus comes to the racing, he's definitely going to be in contention from the gates open. So definitely I think Basilicus is in here with a shot. The 6, Phoenix Risen, somewhat of a course specialist. Paul Francis for Ryan Darby, he's also fresh off the claim. I would consider this he's stepping down in class now after that last run, where third by 4 3/4 lengths to Restoration and Adenosine. Loves the 5 straight. Was second to Unruly Boss back in October. Hasn't been seen at the exercise track, so more than likely this horse has been swimming. So if he's swimming, he's going to be kept fit, and I think he's the horse they're going to have to beat over the straight course. And the 8 JJ, the Striker, comfortable at this level. Last time out was in that same race with My Sunshine and Sniper Man. Now Richard Henry gets the right to claim 3 kilos for Damon Gale, so he's coming in here much lighter than he was on last. Should be the one closing the fastest if the speed collapse. So even though the morning line says 25-1, I think he's fit. He's coming in light and he's busy at the exercise. So I think he's sound. So if the pace collapse in the final furlong or so, I think JJ the Striker will be the one finishing best. So those are the 4 I boil it down to. The 2 Sniper Man, the 4 Basilicus, the 6 Phoenix Risen, and the 8 JJ the Striker. Phoenix Risen is the horse I think they're going to have to beat. The second race, nature bred 3-year-old maiden special weight, 7 starters, 4 furlong straight. Okay, so these are the babies. For the babies, we're just going to go off a who run before and see how they performed and the breeding and the exercise. So I'm boiling this race down to just 3. They are the 2 Money Mission, the 3 Tribal Chief, and the 4 Hansa. Okay, first look at Money Mission. Money Mission, casual trick out of Daisy Duke by Blue Pepsi Lodge. So that horse is bred for speed, because Blue Pepsi Lodge still had that track record at Calder Race Course before it was torn down for 5 furlongs. So anything come out of Blue Pepsi Lodge is speed. Bred by Monique Azan, that's Richard Azan's wife. So this horse probably sold for a good amount of money, because Azan doesn't have it, or Hayden has it, so it probably went for a good price. Radish Woman gets the ride here. Coming into the race, working 35-3. So I think probably forward enough to have a shot. The 3 Tribal Chief on debut was third by 3.5 lengths to Enthusiasm. That race has played out well. Enthusiasm won in 47-2, looking like a very useful horse. The horse who ran second, Honor Prince, ran recently at 6 furlongs and dismantled a field. So it's playing in the favor of a Tribal Chief here. And one thing to note, the Tribal Chief had a horrible start in that race and was still chasing his stablemate for the entire race before tying up in the last half a furlong or so. So definitely I think Tribal Chief is the horse to beat. And the 4 Hansa, Richard Azan, Delroy Behari up. Interestingly bred horse. I'm not too sure about the the mare stallion, Lon Huro. Not sure about him. I have to go look him up. Didn't get a chance to look that one up, but it was bred by Richard Zan, and he kept this one, and it has worked. She has worked well. 47 by 101 and 2 coming into this race from the gate. So definitely I think Hansa should run well. So those are the 3 I'm working with. The 2 Money Mission, the 3 Tribal Chief, who I think they have to beat, and the 4 Hansa. The third race, 3 and up, claiming 1.5 million. Small field of 6, quick sprint 5.5 furlongs. And I'm boiling this race down to 3. Although I think it's really a 1-horse race, but I'm going to use 3. Anything can happen in racing. They are the 1 Sensational Move, the 4 Posing Already, and the 2 Milas. Okay, the 1 Sensational Move represents the definite class of the race, taking this is basically 3 classes down, coming from grade 1, grade 2 coming down here. Nothing in his last 2 starts in the finish, but in the last start he was prominent up to the furlong pole, went third by 2 lengths, and he was still clocking probably 1 minute 7 for the 5.5 in that race. But something definitely has gone awry with Sensational Move for Sobrate to drop him into claimer, and they're probably going to claim him. He's only 5 years old. They put on the figure 8 though. That I'm not sure about, the figure 8. But maybe he's opening his mouth, so they put on the figure 8. Dawkins has the ride. The last time Dawkins rode him was second by a length over the straight to Fearless Soul. But as I said, represents the class of the race, and even with top weight, I think definitely is the horse they're going to have to beat. Possesses a lot of speed, should call the gate, get to the lead, although this horse tends to sometimes step a bit slow out, but I think he has the class to prevail here. The 2 Milos, good win on last at this level, over 7 furlongs, when stalking the pace and then bursting through to win by a half a length from March and Shoot. Before that was in the overnight allowance, beaten out of sight by Money Market, but basically still is an overnight horse. I would consider him. Robert Halliday gets the ride once again for Greg Fennell, and although would prefer it a little longer, he's very capable at this level, and Milos definitely should be in here with a decent enough shot. And the 4 Posing Already, 114 pounds, Larry Salin for Howard Bogus. This horse, first time I think coming down to the claiming ranks. Last time out was 8 by 9 3/4 lengths to unbelievable force. Should be capable at this level, although I think he would have preferred it over the straight course. But stepping down into the claiming ladders, I think he's going to have a shot to definitely figure in the race. So those are the 3 I'm going to boil it down to. The 1 Sensational Move, the 2 Milos, and the 4 Posing Already. I think Sensational Move is definitely the horse you're going to have to beat. The 4th race, Nature Bred 4 years and up, now of 3. Imported 4 years and up, now of 2. Field of 7, 5 furlong straight is the distance. Boiling this race down to 3. They are the 2 Midnight Flight, the 3 Fearless Attack, and the 4 Matuso. Okay. Midnight Flight, Tevin Foster for Byron Davis. Pace is out. Off ability. Definitely fit. Last time out, I think he was just a little too early for his own good, going 5.5 when She's That Girl won from Teflon Don. They've now put on the blinkers. That's the only problem I have for me. The blinkers going to want to go faster unless Tevin can get to relax her, I mean. But definitely has a lot of pace. Definitely has the class of this race. And over this distance, last good run was a third by just a length to El Rapido and Commander Z. So that's very good for him here. So I guess the blinkers is what they want to really make him sharp, because it's just going over the straight course. So definitely Midnight Flight should have a definite say in the outcome. The 3 Fearless Attack, undefeated colt, last seen in April when winning by a half a length from Battle Angel and Lady Lauren. Nothing to really scream home about in that race. Pedestrian time too had the race as his mercy. So something definitely went wrong, because on debut was 23:47. winning by 12 lengths. Then came back and then shortened in the last furlong in very slow pace. So something must have gone wrong. Jason has taken him to task now at exercise since reprogramming him. Has worked 24 and 3, then 35 and 2. So definitely should have some speed here. Haladin knows him. The 2 times he ran and won was with Haladin, so he knows this horse. And expecting a good comeback run here for this Fearless Attack. And the 4, Matuso. The main garden claims 4 kilos here for Richard Azan, so he's coming in pretty light. This horse had high hopes early when he was a youngster. Won an 8 furlong race last in 2023, beating Rosetta and Blue Sensation. Won a non-winners of 2 race last year, beating Come Home to Me and Pope's Lady, right with the pace the entire trip. Then ran in the Prince Consort Stake, was beaten to 5th by 4 3/4 length to Interesting Time ahead. Something went wrong in the Kingston. Came back a few months later in August, was beaten a length by Grecian Light, had El Rapido behind in that one. Then came back the following month and then threw it in a clinker again over the straight against Unbelievable Force. So definitely seems to have some issues. Azan has put him down, freshened him. Hasn't run since September, just bringing him back now. Has been busy at the exercise track. Put in a 36-3 for 3 furlongs on December 5th. Came back December 11th and went 23 and 3 out the straight breezing. Has been trotting since. So I think he's sound. I think he's fit. This very well-bred son of Casual Chick out of Pudipu. I'm expecting a very, very good run here from this Matuso. So those are the 3 that I boil the race down to. The 2, Midnight Flight. The 3, Fearless Attack. And the 4, Matuso. Interesting to see how this Matuso run though, coming off the break. The 5th race, the Mackay Security Sprint Trophy, 5-year-olds and up, claiming 200,000, non-winners of a race in September 1st, 11 starters, 3.5 furlongs. So this is for the horses that are loaded with pins and bolts. And in the field of 11, believe me, anybody in this race can win. Any horse in this race can win. Anything I pick in here, I'm just picking them off trust. So I'm going to work with 5 horses in this event. They are the 2, Friend of the Family, the 6, Matriarch, the 7, Galway Bay, the 8, Boss Izzy, and the 11, Slashinger. Okay, first one we're looking at is Friend of the Family. Friend of the Family. They had hope for this horse when this horse was a youngster in 2022. But this horse has a bad conformation. He has a conformation that's called pigeon toe. Pigeon toe is when the 2 front hoofs are really close together. So, it puts a lot of strain on the tendon and the knee. So I think that's why this horse is still a maiden, this Friend of the Family, but does possess a lot of speed when fit. This might be the perfect distance for Friend of the Family, even though it's a maiden coming against horses that have won. This is the bottom of the barrel. The blinkers are off, the visors are on. He hasn't run since July, so I'm expecting that he's sound. I think they must have been swimming him. He has apprentice up to claim 4 kilos, so he's coming in pretty light for Junior Panton. So I'm expecting a good run from Friend of the Family in a race of this nature. The 6, Matriarch. Matriarch has only won twice in her entire career, 101 starts. Laris Allen gets the ride for Cashbird Klewalsin. But she's been running well of late at this level against these bottom horses. But definitely you can see she have a problem. She ran May, then June, then July, then skip August, then September. Then her last race was December. Early in the early part of the race, going 5 rounds, finished 6 by 15 lengths. So definitely have her problems. But at 3.5 furlongs, which her last win was over that beating Boss Izzy, then came back and was 3rd by 2 lengths. So She's Nene and Excuse Me Goodbye. Going to give Matriarch a shot here at this distance. The 7, Galway Bay, another horse that has some pace and should relish this 3.5 furlong race. Last time was shot almost like it was 4 furlongs straight back in June where he had a win by a length and a half over Beautiful. I don't know which one of the Beautiful. One of the horses named Beautiful, and Matriarch was third in that race. Last time out, was 6 by 25 lengths when selling 1 to 2 favorite, and was early and then faded out of the race. Samantha Fletcher now gets the right to claim 2 kilos for Rudolph Hardial. So with his speed and going this short, I have to give Galway Bay a shot here. Then we have Boss Izzy. He's one of the more raced horses in this lineup, but does have this problem as well. Now 11 years old, but just the choice of rider. Philip Parchment gets the ride here. Blinkers off, figure 8 on. Back to how usually, that's the equipment he usually has. Just the tongue tie. He's taking off the figure 8, Figure 8 off, blinkers off. He's back to just the tongue tie. I think this is the best run you're going to get from Boss Izzy at this short trip. And the 11, Schlesinger. Just the fact that the champion jockey decides to ride a horse in this race, I can't leave him out. Last race was August 31st when he was a winner at 4 furlongs straight. Has raced with a lot of these, have beaten some, they have beaten him. As I said, this is a race that can go anyway, any horse can win. So those are the 5 I'm boiling it down to. I think the winner comes from one of them. And I'm curious to see how this friend of the family run, although is a maiden. The 6th race, Mackay Security Limited Trophy, 4 wheels on up, claiming 350 to 250. 10 starters and they go 7 furlongs. I boil this race down to 4. They are the 1, 6th Avenue, the 2, Prince Dominic, the 5, Lion of Icati, and the 7, Don Almighty. Okay, 6th Avenue, as fit as hands can make him at this point, was a winner on last, beating Sunshine Cat and She's Prada at this distance. Before that was second by 3 lengths to Millennium Star, Silent Cat behind in that race, and before that was second by 14 lengths to Lion of Icati. Definitely one of the fittest horses in the race. Can't leave 6th Avenue out of this. Has some pace, so should be close enough if good enough from the off. The 2, Prince Dominic, impressive winner on last, 8 lengths, going 6 furlongs, stretches out to 7. That extra furlong might be a little on the taxing side for Prince Dominic, especially if he gets tested in the early stages, but he's very fit, so can't be ruled out. The 5, Lion of Icati, has not put in a good race since winning by 14 lengths at this level, but that was up in the grades above these. Steps down to 250 now. The visor's off, the blinkers on, tongue tie off. So he's back to the equipment that he loves. Radish Roman gets the ride for Lawrence Fremantle. And definitely Lion of Icati is going to show up in this race. And the 7, Don Almighty, Roger Hewitt Fernando Geddes, stepped down in class and last and was surprisingly beaten by 9 lengths, but ran up into this very speedy, phenomenal one. Didn't have pace to match that one. Stretched out a bit here at 7 furlongs, but definitely has some back class coming in this race, and if he gets to sit close enough to that pace, he could probably make the first run leaving that half mile and prove a very tough horse in the stretch. So definitely think Don Almighty should fight this out. So those are the 4 I'm working with. The 1, 6th Avenue, the 2, Prince Dominic, the 5, Lion of Icati put in a big performance, and Don Almighty I think is the horse they're going to have to beat. The 7th race, it's the Supreme Venture Fan Appreciation Day Trophy, 3 wheels and up, overnight allowance. 7 horses will start and they go 2 turns, 9 furlongs and 25 yards. And I think this is a straight 2-horse race, to be honest. There are the 3 interesting times ahead and the 7 commandant. Okay. Interesting times ahead. The St. Leger winner. Runner-up in the Guineas, winner of the Prince Consort and the Kingston. Doesn't seem like a horse that wants to stay, even though he won the St. Leger. Has some pace, was a no-show in the Moute Mile, a no-show in the Gold Cup, a no-show in the Jamaica Cup, but gets a smaller field here, even though with top weight, Haladin for Jason DaCosta. Going to get a much more relaxed pace, I would think, going this 2 turn with this small field. don't think he's going to be left behind. I think he's going to be much closer to the pace. And he has worked brilliantly coming into this race. His last work on the 26th of December, he galloped 6 in 1:12 and 3. So definitely very fit. This interesting times ahead, and I'm expecting a capital run from him. And the 7, Commandant. Third in the Moutier Mile by a length and a quarter, carrying the top weight. So interesting times ahead, has to come up in weight to him now. Radish Roman gets the ride for Rowan Crichton. Will not have a problem going 9:25, I don't think, because at Gulfstream Park he goes a mile and 70, a mile and 8.5 furlongs, which are 2-turn races at Gulfstream. Gulfstream is a much smaller circuit track than us, so it's much tighter turns, shorter stretch run, but you have to go 2 turns to go the mile and 70. So I think he's going to enjoy the 2 turns. And plus, when he's going 2 turns at Gulfstream, they're cutting pace like 1:11 for 6. So I think he's going to enjoy this. I don't think they're going anywhere near 1:11 for 6 furlong in this race. So I think he'll be very close to the pace from the gates open, and use his powerful late run to fight it out. Probably beat Interesting Times Ahead. Those are the 2 I think it come down to. Definitely think Commandant is the horse they have to beat. For third, I'd put Neostar, because I think he's the horse that's going to jump to the front. They might allow him to slip off 2-3 lengths on them, but I think the class horses will catch him. Yeah, Commandant to beat Interesting Times Ahead, Neostar for third. The 8th race, the New Year's Day Trophy. Native bred 4-year-olds and up, non of 2, imported 4-year-olds and up maidens. 8 starters, they go 6.5 furlongs, boiling this race down to 4. They are the 1, Smart Trick, the 2, Titan Tempo, the 5, Provident, and the 8, Midnight Galaxy. Okay, Smart Trick. Very unlucky front runner. He just can't seem to get it right. Always gets that lead, looks very comfortable, but within the last furlong, somebody catches him. He now has Shane Ellis in the saddle, so maybe Master Shane will do the trick. But he's much racing. I think Smart Trick, I think he has passed his peak, but he recently ran, so we know he's fit. I just think that his peak has passed. But if Shane Ellis can get him to dominate the fractions and get away from them, might get there. Or maybe Shane Ellis will conjure up some magic and try a different tactic. So have to carry Smart Trick. The 2, Titan Tempo, came off a break from August, ran November, was third by 2.5 lengths to Tiffany Blue and Smart Trick at 6 furlongs, right in the pace for the whole race. Came back, stretched out to 7.5 on the 21st of December. Made the lead at the top of the lane and was out-kicked by the well-programmed train of thought. Midnight Galaxy was 2 3/4 lengths behind on that. So much better for those 2 runs. This Titan Tempo, 6.5 I think looks about perfect in distance. Haladin still has the ride here for Philip Fiani. And I think, to be honest, Titan Tempo looks like the horse I think they're going to all have to beat. The 5, Provident. Disappointing start out of the stable of Jason DaCosta. Ishmael Velasquez gets the ride now. Jason has been stretching him out, and he's not seeming to get going. I think this horse is just a one-move horse. I think you just have to break him, wrap him up, wait with him, and when you come at the half mile, you just ask him for everything. And I think he will deliver. He has worked 109 coming into this race, 109 and 3. 6.5 might look short for him, but with the expected pace in the race, as long as he doesn't get involved and is wrapped up and covered up for a stretch kick, I think Provident will be the one finishing the strongest in the stretch. So very dangerous this time around if the pace collapse. The 8, Midnight Galaxy, has been the favorite on his last 4 starts. Can't seem to land it. Was a good second to Mac and Rome at 9.5 furlongs. Came back at 5 furlongs round. Early in the pace, then faded to 4th by 6 lengths to undisclosed location. Stretched back out to 9.5 early in the pace and definitely faded right out at 5th by 13 lengths. So he definitely doesn't want to stay. So 7.5 on last, 3rd by 7 lengths in that same Titan Tempo race. back at 6.5 now. Well, coming down to 6.5, I should say. Dane Dawkins now gets the ride. This looks a little bit more up his street. They have now put on the figure 8, so maybe this horse is opening his mouth in the stretch. So maybe the figure 8 is what he needs. Expecting a much better run here from this Midnight Galaxy. If I wanted to throw a horse in just for superfecta purposes, the Shooting Star looks kind of tempting. Only 4 starts, was 4th by 3 3/4 lengths in the last start in July. So coming off a break, but working coming into this race. So definitely sound, definitely fit, and could probably squeeze his way into the superfecta. Could probably upset calculations because it's a very well bred horse out of Tapitra, out of Candy Ride mare. So definitely would squeeze that one in the superfecta with the 3 first grandson. The 9th and final, the Miracle Man Cup. Miracle Man, one of the greatest local bred thoroughbreds ever bred in Jamaica, has the distinction of being the only local bred horse to win an international stakes race, and is the only horse in Jamaica to win a super stakes and then go undefeated to win a next super stakes. He's the only horse that has ever done that, to win the super stakes, then win 7 or 8 races straight, and then to win the super stakes again. So this race is named in honor of the great Miracle Man. 3-year-olds and up, open allowance, grade 2, 10 starters, 7 furlongs. They go. Okay, going to boil this race down to 4 horses. They're going to be the 1, Run Julie Run, the 4, Barnaby, the 9, Atlantic Convoy, and the 10, Legacy Isle. Okay, Run Julie Run, the new local bred queen of local racing. One super impressive in a stakes record time on last at 9 furlongs and 25 yards. To be honest, I didn't think I'd see Run Julie Run back this quick. I thought she deserved a break, even a 2-month break, but they've decided to face off with some tough opponents here, going 7 furlongs in the Miracle Man Cup. We know she's definitely very fit. She's looking like she's a super athlete. One thing for sure, they're going to have to catch her, because Dawkins is going to put this horse right to the front, and it's catch me if you can. So she's definitely the horse they're going to have to catch, this Run Julie Run. The 4, Barnaby, Omar Walker for Anthony Nunes, beaten 7th by 6 lengths in the Moutier Mile. But I'm going to toss that run out, because if you notice, at the half mile, Barnaby was 14 by 9 lengths off. And when the race finished, you couldn't recognize Barnaby. He was covered in mud. So I don't think Barnaby was enjoying the kickback, because he was in behind a wall of horses. Didn't get any. Walker was trying to find a position to get him into a nice spot. Couldn't get the rail. He was in between horses, getting mud kicked in his face, came outside, finally got clear racing room when he was into the stretch, but the race was over by that time. As you can see at the furlong pole, he was 10th by 13 lengths and still finished 7th by 6 lengths. So he made up 7 lengths in the last furlong. So now, in this much smaller field, and I think he's not going to have to worry about kickback too much in this race, I'm expecting at this distance, big run from Barnaby. The 9, Atlantic Convoy. This horse to me is probably one of the best conformed horse I see at Caymanas Park. Body-wise, this horse has one of the perfect stride, nice size, nice head, good-looking horse. And the last run shows me that this horse might finally be coming into his own. He's now 5, so he's now fully matured. And this very beautiful-looking chestnut horse, Atlantic Convoy, I'm expecting him to run accordingly. I'm expecting him to put in a big run. 7 furlongs look right up him alley. It's just that he has to share top weight with a American stakes horse, which I think might be his undoing. But if Haladin gives him the right kind of ride, where he stalks and don't get too involved in the pace, I think we're going to get a very decent run from this Atlantic Convoy. Trust me, one of the best looking horses at Caymanas Park. The 10, Legacy Isle, the big Legacy Isle. Got dug out in the glass and last by Bobby Haladin and Fun Can Done, carrying top weight of 126, lost by a neck. And I said before the race, the only problem I have with this horse, the only way I see this horse is being beat is because this horse refuses to change his lead leg. If this horse would just change his lead leg, I don't see how them can beat him in Jamaica. But he doesn't change his lead leg, so that is telling me that he has some issues that, you know, it can be addressed, but that's why the horse don't change his lead leg. But he's a big, powerful horse, 5 years old, Tevin Foster now for Rowan Crichton. And I think him going to just try to go with Ron Julio. I don't think they're going to allow Ron Julio to just get that lead and steal it. So I think he's going to probably go after her from the gates open and definitely could turn this into a decent fight to the finish, this Legacy Isle. So those are the four. The one, Ron Julie Run, the new queen of local racing, and she's the horse they're going to have to catch. The 4, Barnaby, who I think from a much cleaner trip here today. If the pace decides, if they go too fast, I think Barnaby will beat them. The 9, Atlantic Convoy, very impressive looking on last. This very good looking chestnut horse, expecting a very good run from him. And the horse, I think they have to beat the very big burly Legacy Isle. Okay guys, I hope we have some luck on New Year's Day, and as usual, be safe.